Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Here we have the Hasbro Indiana Jones Adventure Series. Here we have a couple of figures. We have the Target exclusive Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade Kazim. And then we have the fan channel and Amazon release of the Indiana Jones Professor. This also is from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So I think I had mentioned when I had first reviewed the Raiders of the Lost Ark Indiana Jones that I would be all in on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And I meant that because that is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. I did watch Temple of Doom and Raiders of the Lost Ark not long ago. I actually did not watch The Last Crusade because I tend to watch that movie every now and then already, more so than the other ones. At some point, I guess I will watch Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull before Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny releases. But I just don't have fond memories of that one being all that good. Last Crusade, to me, is still far and away my favorite Indiana Jones movie. I won't call it the best. I will just call it my favorite Indiana Jones movie. The Kazim figure never went up for pre-order or anything like that. It was just going to be one of those ones where it's just going to be in stock, available when it releases. And lo and behold, it came out just within the last couple of days. I think Arizona Toy Hunter on Instagram, they had posted a picture and it was hanging on a peg. I'm like, oh shit, I need to get that figure. So I went to my local Target this morning and they had it in stock. So it was pretty awesome that I was able to get it right away, which is cool. Interesting enough, on the side, the cross sell, it actually shows Wave 1, the 5 figures from Wave 1, and then Kazim. The Professor Indiana Jones also has the same thing, the 5 figures from Wave 1, and then the Professor Dr. Jones there. Looking at the back of the package, you see the accessories that they come with. Looks like it's Kazim stands at 6.2 inches. He comes with 2 rifles and a handgun. Professor Jones, Dr. Jones, he is 6.2 inches tall as well. He comes with the large shield. I forget, what did they call the shield? One of the Knights brothers' shield. He has the bone flame. And then he has the diary that his dad sent him, which is really cool. Looking at the artwork on the side of both of these, I think those just look really awesome. Enough about the boxes. We're going to get into the figures because these ones are a lot of fun. They're not perfect by any means, but these figures are a whole hell of a lot of fun, and I'm excited to kind of go through and show you guys. And again, because I think my love for The Last Crusade is going to make me very biased when it comes to these things, because there are some major limitations to these figures. But you know what? I don't much care because I love the figures because I love the movie, if that makes sense. So we'll get into it. There's some decent accessories and things like that. First, let's kind of get Kazim out of the way, and then we'll look at Indiana Jones. Okay, so here we have a close-up look at Kazim in his fez. The fez hat does not come off. That is part of the head sculpt. One thing about this head sculpt, though, it doesn't look like it uses digital print. Well, technically, when I get in for a closer look, the eyes do look like they're printed on. But usually facial hair is printed on as well. He's got such a thick mustache. Maybe they didn't bother doing it there. And then his eyebrows are pretty thick, so those aren't like the same digital print. And then, I don't see any color variations in his cheeks or anything. So to me, it kind of looks like an old school style, Hasbro action figure where it's just pure painted on face. So to me, it just doesn't have as an ultra realistic look as the Professor Indiana Jones does to me. Not to say this is bad, because I actually think it's quite good. When they have an older movie and they start to do action figures and things like that, we've seen that with Power Rangers. They don't always do the greatest, but hey, it's the same team that does the Black Series. So the Lucasfilm team, let's say that, at Hasbro, they're actually doing a really good job, in my opinion. I think that actually looks really good. So Kazim comes with 3 different accessories. So he has a couple of rifles. So he has this one here. It's kind of a harder plastic, so it's not really pliable, so it's not going to come warped, which is really good. The base color is just kind of this ugly brown, and then we get some gunmetal in there for some of the metal parts, and that looks pretty good. The next, we have this other rifle type. It has this dark brown kind of handle to it, and then the barrel and stuff and the magazine go there on this gunmetal, this dark gunmetal color, and that looks pretty good there as well. And this one, again, a little bit of a harder plastic, so you don't want to bend it too much. There's not a whole lot of give. It feels like one of those harder plastics that if you bend it too much, it's just going to snap in half. So I would be very, 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 very careful with that. So just a heads up on that. And then next, he has this old school ass little tiny handgun, if I can get that to focus in. This little handgun, and that is like a mega old school gun. It is super thin. Surprisingly not too flexible, so be careful with that. I'm glad it's not warped, because that little barrel, you think, would be able to warp. And this should fit in his hand pretty easily, as you can see there. He's got the trigger finger for his right hand. His left hand is just kind of an open hand there. Yeah. But let's get in for the close looks at Kazim here, and it looks really good. He's got the rose there in his jacket pocket. He's got the pinstripe going on. The pinstripe is crazy because the pinstripe uses the laser jet, inkjet or whatever, the print on there to really give it a nice clean look. And from close up, you see it looks a little granulated in the black color, but you know what? From far away, it's not something that you would necessarily notice. And I think it works out well, because what I think it does, it gives us cleaner lines than we would get with standard paint. And because of the whole pinstripe suit, this could have been an absolute disaster when it comes to stuff. So, the waves in the lines is not because they didn't do straight lines. It's because when you're wearing clothes, right, the clothes aren't going to be perfectly straight at any given time. So, that's why we kind of see some of the waves and some of the areas around the wrinkles and things like that. But I think it came out great and just looks fantastic. We'll talk about articulation and the lack of articulation when it comes to the figure, but like the neck and collar pieces, that collar is part of a separate neck piece that goes into the torso, and you're actually going to see that with the Professor Jones figure. But there is Kazim. Again, the print on the pinstripe just looks really good. If anything, I think here on the ankles, right, those probably should have been brown to match the shoes, because that'd be part of the shoes. So, if there's any kind of flaw, that's definitely there. Those ankles should be brown in color. Unfortunately, they are black, which, could be, I guess, socks, but, the dip in the foot and the shoe, I don't think should be the case, but that's super nitpicky. But yeah, Kazim looks pretty good. Next, we look at Indiana Jones, or Professor Jones. He comes with a few different accessories as well. So he has the diary that was mailed to them. It's still wrapped in the packaging. I don't think that those aren't actual letters or anything, but you can see where the stamps were. You can see how it was tied with the twine. That looks really good. I love the way that came out looking. And then here, when they're down in the catacombs, I guess it would be, it was all like oil or gasoline down there or something, right? It was all flammable. So, to get some light, Indy got a bone. He tore it apart from a skeleton, wrapped it in some cloth, lit it on fire, so we get that torch here. And this looks really good. The bone, though, is super pliable. Like, it's way too flexible. It's kind of crazy how soft this is. So that's a little unfortunate. The flame itself is not like that. It's just the bone part that's just too soft. But that looks really good. We get a little bit of red in there, so color to bring out the flames. It's actually like a neon orange paint that's actually in there. I don't know why I said red. It just gets a little bit heavier on the neon orange there. But that looks really good. And then the last accessory is the big-ass shield. The Knights Templar, is that what it was? Shield. And check this out. On the inside, you get this super rustic look to it, and that's pretty cool, because I think, this should be like a wood, so it kind of has a little bit of a wood grain to it. Look at, the sculpted detail on the inside and all the paint. Came out really nice, and then, he could just put his arm through there to hold the shield like so. Looking at the front, a lot of sculpted detail in there as well. Fun fact, Caster's Corner, if you guys, follow them on Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, he gave me the heads up that the tablet piece that Walter Donovan comes with, and I don't have that figure yet. Big Bad Toy Store, I think, has it in stock, but I ordered mine through Amazon. The crosses from the tablet and the shield kind of match up nicely, but the writing itself doesn't match up. So, like, Indiana Jones, he only has the portion from the tablet, and then he does the paper. God, I forget what it's called, but he does the tracing of it, and it won't, the figure portions won't line up. So the tablet's either too big or the shield is too small, kind of thing. But it is fun that we get those pieces. It would have been much better if it got to line up, but unfortunately it doesn't. It is a pretty thick shield. But again, I think it does look really good in the sculpted detail of it. So that is a nice touch. And then we have Professor Jones himself. He is just wearing a gray suit and looks pretty good. The neck and collar bow tie piece, that is a separate piece from the torso. The Harrison Ford head sculpt, I think looks pretty good. I would say, yes, it is better than the Raiders of the Lost Ark likeness. For sure, I think this is actually pretty fantastic. I don't know if it shares the same head as the Club Obi-Wan Indiana Jones figure. I know that is hitting targets, but that is one that I'm not interested in, as it is from Temple of Doom, which is not my favorite Indiana Jones movie. At this point, I am not all in on the Adventure series, only going to be all in when it comes to The Last Crusade. But you know, Raiders of the Lost Ark, you have to get the classic Indiana Jones look, right? So that's why I have that one. But anyway, he's got brown shoes there, and then you can see we got gray for the ankles there. And again, those ankles should either be, unless he was wearing gray socks, because I guess these don't come down as much, and that could pass as the shoe. But I probably would have preferred if that ankle was brown to match the shoes. Trigger finger on the right hand, just an open hand on the left, and that could be used to hold the torch. It could be used to hold the diary, or however you want to do that. He doesn't actually come with any weapons, though. But let's see the handgun that came with Kazim. If we could pop this into his hand, I'm sure that will work out quite well. Trigger goes in there, and that is something that you could do if you wanted to. You know what? And I want to point out, look at that pinstripe on the shirt. Damn, that looks good. It's a light blue shirt with a red and blue pinstripes in there. We got butterfly joints too, which are not really going to do any good because the jacket really gets in the way. But enough of that articulation piece, because we're going to go into the full articulation section right now. Okay, so the articulation can be a little bit frustrating because you don't get any motion when it comes to the torso, because here Professor Jones has the vest in the way, and then Kazim has the jacket, which doesn't have any kind of opening to it at all, which is really going to get in the way. First of all, the head does a full swivel. You can get insane amount of pivot going on in there, and that's without actually moving that neck piece yet. The head is on a dumbbell joint, so just standard looking up is really not going to happen. Looking down is only going to be a little bit, but that neck is a separate articulation piece, so you can get him to bend to look down that much utilizing that neck piece. Getting it to look up, it kind of goes up a little bit, not a whole lot, but you do see a little bit of gap in there, which is unfortunate, so you do want to be mindful of that. I wonder how far down does this tie go? Probably not very far. The shoulder, you can get the shoulder to go straight on out like so, full rotation in there. There's no bicep swivel because these guys get single jointed elbows with the swivel, so you get swivel there. The bend is going to be just over 90 degrees there. One thing that's ugly is we did not get the pinstripe in the elbow, which again, I don't know how they would have done that. They probably couldn't have done that and make it, you know, really work out well. So that is kind of a bummer. It's just black in color. Their wrist swivel, they don't really hinge because they're just on a ball, as you could see there. So the Lucasfilm team at Hasbro, they haven't utilized a proper ball joint or a hinge or anything like that, unfortunately. But I don't believe any Star Wars figures have had swappable hands, whereas Adventure Series, we are getting that. Now, I could absolutely be wrong on that. I'm sure I am. You guys can correct me down there because I'm just not a big enough Black Series collector to know for sure what is available in there. Anyway, I don't know if there's a butterfly joint. I feel like there's not a butterfly joint in this guy. I don't know what kind of ab motion he's going to have because it's really hindered and completely blocked in there with that jacket. I mean, he could tilt a little bit to the sides, but it's really hardly anything. You can get him to kind of go back a little bit, coming forward only so much there, but that's really all kind of in the hips. There is a swivel somewhere in there, so you can get him to turn a little bit. Legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward that much. The jacket gets in the way a little bit, unfortunately. The leg does go back. You got an upper thigh cut in there. Single jointed knee, which gives you just about a 90-degree bend. And then there you've got the ugly knees because they couldn't do the pinstripe in there. Swivel at the knee as well. The ankle, does it have a swivel? The ankle does not have a swivel, but you can hinge it down a little bit. Unfortunately, though, that foot is not going to hinge down a whole lot because it's really going to hit the pant leg. Doesn't really hinge up a whole lot because the pant leg, you got some pivot in there, and then a fairly shallow peg hole at the bottom of the feet. So that is Kazim's, again, fairly frustrating articulation. Here we have the Professor Indiana Jones. Same thing on the neck. The neck is a separate piece. The head is on a dumbbell joint, so looking up is not necessarily going to happen. Looking down, you really have to bend that neck to do that as well. You can do some insane kind of pivoting and stuff with the neck and rotation and whatnot in there too. The arms you can get to go straight on out, full rotation in there. No biceps swivel, but we have a single jointed elbow, which gives us a little bit more than a 90-degree bend. Their wrists just swivel, and they have the no hinge. You could just pop that out. I'm trying to think. I didn't even pay attention to this as if these arms are the same. The arms are not the same. Indiana Jones's arms are a lot larger than Kazim's, so just a heads up on that. The pants might be the same. The pants are not the same. The pants are definitely baggier on Indiana Jones as well, so they are different. They do utilize different bodies. So here, we have a waist swivel on Indiana Jones, but he's got the vest on there that's going to completely hinder the articulation. And I'm trying to figure out like what he's got on him, and he doesn't really tilt to any side or anything. So I don't know if there was an ab crunch in there. Probably not, because it was just basically a ball joint at the waist on this Indiana Jones. But I can't really get him to tilt in any direction, but we do get a swivel going on in there, so just a heads up on that. Legs go out that far apart. He can't kick forward that far, which is good. Goes back tiny bit. You got an upper thigh cut in there, single jointed knee, so it gives you just about 90 degrees and a little bit of swivel at that knee. Foot hinges down a little bit. You get a little bit of hinge up. There is an ankle swivel on this guy, so heads up on that. And then you do get some ankle pivot, and you have peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So Indiana Jones, I would say, can move around a little bit better, but again, still pretty frustrating when it comes to the torso piece because there's just not really a whole lot going on in there. Now, one thing that's fairly frustrating to me is this leg seems to be a little bit loose over here. And it makes him want to kind of spread that leg out going that way. And then at times I feel like his right leg is taller than his left. And I don't know what I think that is. I think it's this ankle ball that's in there is not really pegged in all the way, or maybe I could force it in a little bit more. But I feel like height-wise, his right leg is just taller than his left. Maybe it's my eyes deceiving me and playing tricks on me, but I feel like that's what it is. So the part of it naturally wants to go there, so it levels out the figure. So just a heads up on that, because like even if I stand it up on this foot, this other one is not touching the ground. So yeah, I think it's definitely a little high. I don't know if that's going to be something with all of them or if that's just on my copy. Maybe I'll try and do an exchange with Amazon, which is where I got mine, because again, it's going to be Fan Channel and Amazon. I don't know if it's currently in stock, but Amazon is where I got mine. Okay, so one final look in comparison, we could see the two Indiana Jones figures that I have. There have been more that have released, right? Wait. No other Indiana Jones figure has released yet. Oh, well, the Club Obi-Wan figure, which I don't have, which I'm assuming is going to use a lot of the same parts as this Professor Indiana Jones. Lots of other Indiana Jones figures coming out. Wave 2 is extremely indie heavy, which I guess makes sense. But here, adding in Kazim with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, we have representation of the Brotherhood of the Cruciform Sword, which protects the secrets of the Holy Grail and keeps it safe and hidden. Again, The Last Crusade, one of my favorite movies of all time. Really still holds up. Sean Connery is in it. Come on, guys. Sean Connery. Awesome movie. And I'm really liking these action figures for Indiana Jones. I always kind of wanted Indiana Jones action figures. I always thought, like, man, it would be awesome to get some really nice Indiana Jones action figures. And we have them. I'm not going to be all in. I just can't do that because I just don't need a lot of those figures that are like in Wave 1. It's just not necessary. The Brody figure in the 2-pack with Renee Belloc, I need a Brody figure, but I want one for The Last Crusade. Like, I don't want one for Raiders of the Lost Ark. And hopefully it's not in a 2-pack, or maybe it's in a 2-pack with some other cool figure. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, we had some pipeline reveals as part of the Star Wars Celebration. We know that Wave 3 is going to be Last Crusade inspired, so whatever the build artifact is going to be from that, which I don't know what it even possibly could be. It would be cool if it was, I don't know. Who would it be? What would it be? Could it be the room where the Holy Grail is and have a bunch of the different cups and chalices and things like that? That would be pretty cool. The Knight Templar that's in the room, I forget what he's referred to as. But anyway, lots of figures coming. I'm excited for them. You guys let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of these Indiana Jones Adventure Series figures? Are you picking them up? Are you all in? Let me know in the comments below. Which was your favorite Indiana Jones movie? I agree. It is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Are you going to check out Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? I'm for sure going to check it out. I'm pretty excited about it. Reviews are not good. I don't care. I'm still going to see it. But anyway, if you guys liked this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that join button to become a channel member and be a part of the MCU Collective. And as always, thank you for watching.